Hello, today we're going to look at London by William Blake. William Blake was a painter, poet, and printmaker born in 1757, was a key figure of the Romantic age and the movement of Romanticism. So basically, one thing they've got in common with the Romantics is they're often rebelling against institutions such as the church and the monarchy, and rather than respecting those movements, they kind of hold nature as the superior entity. So, if we're moving on to look at the poem, okay, Blake was a huge supporter of the French Revolution, and there is a hint to this within the poem itself, which I'll go over in a while. Many saw the French Revolution as inspirational, a model of how ordinary disadvantaged people could seize power. Now, within the poem London, Blake does make reference to this. So let's have a look at it. So we've got four verses, a strict rhyme scheme, 4 lines per verse, and I think if we're talking about structure, we can say there that that strict structure is very similar to how people find themselves living in London. They're lacking the freedom there. Let's have a little read through. I wander through each charted street near where the charted Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. So if we just go through that line by line there, we've got a repetition of the word chartered, and that's to show how everywhere is owned by either the authorities or the government, okay? Now, what would be completely at odds with a romantic poet is that somebody could own the river, okay? Because that's seen as a symbol of nature and freedom. But everywhere he goes, he sees marks of weakness and marks of woe, so misery in everybody's face. And it carries on into this next one with the anaphora here of the repetition of in every. So we've got that hyperbole that everybody is miserable. Let's have a read. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every ban, the mind-forged manacles I hear. Now then, this is an interesting final line in this verse. Mind-forged manacles. Manacles is something we usually associate with slavery. And the fact that they're mind-forged means that people are living in their own mental prison. Okay. Now, this links to Rousseau, who was writing about the French Revolution at the time, and he said, man has nothing to lose but his chains. So we can make a reference there. Into the third verse, how the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. Well, we've got two institutions there, the church and the palace. Now, the blackening church, that could be taken two ways, because in terms of the Industrial Revolution at the time, lots of buildings would get filthy through the soot that was being emitted by the chimneys. But also it could be metaphorical in that the blackening church is actually an evil institution. Okay, he's a big Christian, Blake, but he was against the church. And then we've got the palace with blood running down it, which belongs to the hapless soldier. So whilst the empire was being built abroad, soldiers were in fact dying in need for the monarchy to stretch their reign. And then it goes on to, but most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the marriage hearse. So what this final verse is about is this cycle of misery that everybody is brought into. You've got the youthful harlot on the street holding a baby. She's screaming into the midnight air, and this baby has been born into this cycle of depression and misery. And just that last line there, the marriage hearse. So you've got that oxymoron there where they've combined something that's supposed to be a celebration, a marriage, along with a vehicle that takes your coffin to your funeral, the hearse. So it's this cycle that cannot be avoided. If we're thinking about this poem and what to compare it to, we've got Shelley's Ozymandias, who was another romantic poet, and also extract from the prelude by William Wordsworth. They're easy ones to compare to there. There is obviously no references to nature within this poem. So what I think we can take from that is that it's the unnatural city of London and how it's almost like a prison for its occupants. Okay, thanks very much.